90% of people are wrong about Bruce Lee. They think they know how he died, but they don't, because what I'm about to show you was buried for 50 years.
The mysterious death of a true action hero. Who or what killed the one, the only, Bruce Lee?
This envelope, it holds the death files, the real ones, official documents from the court inquest that the public was never meant to fully understand. Few names resonate through martial arts history like Bruce Lee, a man who could break bones with a one-inch punch, a legend who predicted his own death in eerie detail just weeks before it happened. His untimely demise didn't just shock the world, it shattered reality for millions who worshipped him as invincible. For over 50 years, we've been fed the same sanitized story. But the truth, it's far more terrifying than anyone dared to speak. This video exposes the aspects of his death not commonly narrated, the final 24 hours that don't make sense, the evidence that was conveniently lost, and the theories so disturbing that they've been systematically silenced. But what we discovered in those final hours will change everything you thought you knew about him.
Bruce Lee's last day. Year 1973, an ordinary summer day in Hong Kong. Until it wasn't. Bruce Lee, the man who shattered martial arts traditions and dominated global cinema, woke up with no idea these would be his final hours. His schedule seemed routine. A meeting with Raymond Chow, his friend and business partner, co-founder of Golden Harvest and a powerhouse in Hong Kong's film industry. They were discussing their next project, Game of Death, which Lee was scripting, directing, and starring in. After the meeting, they drove to actress Betty Ting Pei's apartment for dinner. Betty, cast in Game of Death, had been working closely with Lee on the film. It was inside her apartment that everything began to unravel. During their discussion, Lee complained of an intense headache. For someone known for superhuman vitality, this was alarming. Betty gave him a painkiller, Equigesic, a combination of aspirin and the tranquilizer. Lee went to lie down, planning to rest before dinner. He never woke up. What happened next spiraled into chaos. Hours passed. His condition deteriorated. By the time they realized something was catastrophically wrong, Bruce Lee had slipped into a coma. The martial artist who had defied every limitation, who seemed invincible, now lay helpless. As the sun set that evening, so did a legend. But the real mystery? It was only just beginning.
Flashback. The first collapse. But this wasn't the first time Bruce Lee's body had screamed a warning. Exactly 10 weeks before his death, something terrifying happened. An incident most people dismissed at the time. But looking back now, it might have been the first sign that something was catastrophically wrong. May 10th, 1973, 2:30 p.m., Hong Kong. Bruce is dubbing sound for Enter the Dragon, the final hurdle of a film that had drained him mentally and physically. This movie was his ticket to international stardom, and the pressure was suffocating. Bruce knew Enter the Dragon was going to be his breakthrough internationally, and he was very nervous about it going wrong. It's brutally hot. The technicians keep switching the air conditioning on and off to reduce noise. Bruce is drenched in sweat. Then, without warning, he collapses. Witnesses say he writhed on the floor, convulsing, sweating uncontrollably for several minutes. Panic erupts. He's rushed to Baptist Hospital, just 2 miles away. Doctors fight to save him. The diagnosis: cerebral edema, swelling of the brain. Within an hour, Bruce regains consciousness. But the investigation into what caused it revealed something unexpected: a considerable amount of cannabis in his system. The attending doctor makes a shocking claim. Our diagnosis was that he had an overdose. Had no medical attention been available, he would have been dead. Here's the problem. It's nearly impossible to overdose on cannabis. But Bruce was using it the night he died, suggesting he was a habitual user. There's this paradox in Bruce Lee. You've got this amazingly fast, agile man, and then in private moments, he just needed marijuana to stay still. In 1973 Hong Kong, marijuana was considered evil. Users faced prison. Bruce had to hide it, but his autopsy showed only 0.5 milligrams in his stomach and 0.4 milligrams in his intestine, a negligible amount. I don't believe cannabis played any role in his death, nor in the seizure 10 weeks earlier. But there was something about the way he collapsed that day, something the doctors missed, a condition that was misdiagnosed, a condition that might have been silently killing him. The mysterious coma. As the minutes dragged on that fateful evening of July 20th, 1973, Bruce Lee lay unconscious in Betty Ting Pei's apartment. The man who moved like lightning now lay eerily still. When Raymond Chow returned, what he saw shook him to his core. Bruce Lee, a symbol of invincibility, was completely unresponsive, his legendary presence gone. But Lee's condition was rapidly deteriorating. His skin became strangely blotched. His face swelled. When the doctor arrived and saw Bruce, the fear in his eyes said everything. Get him to a hospital now. Bruce was rushed to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Dr. Peter Wu and his team launched a desperate fight to revive him. They tried everything, but nothing worked. At 11:30 p.m., Bruce Lee was pronounced dead. He was 32 years old. The shockwave was instant. How does a man at the absolute peak of human performance just die? The autopsy revealed cerebral edema, severe brain swelling. But why? A man with no prior conditions, no warning signs beyond that collapse 10 weeks earlier. How does his brain suddenly swell to the point of death? Even more disturbing, the toxicology found nothing harmful. No poison, no overdose, nothing that explained it. The official verdict? Death by misadventure. That's it. Case closed. Except it explained nothing. Investigators scrutinized his diet, his brutal training regimen, possible allergies. They found nothing conclusive. Fans, friends, family, everyone was left grasping at shadows. The theories began immediately. Some logical, some bizarre, some downright disturbing. Because here's what terrified everyone. If Bruce Lee could die this suddenly, this mysteriously, with no clear explanation, what else were they not telling us? Speculations and theories. When the official explanation satisfied no one, the theories exploded. Theory number 1, the painkiller. The first suspect, Aquagisec, the pill Betty gave him. Harmless for most people, but what if Bruce had a hypersensitive reaction no one knew about? It seemed plausible until the autopsy revealed no signs of anaphylaxis, no allergic reaction, nothing. If it wasn't the pill, then what? Theory number 2, heat stroke and dehydration. Bruce's training was legendary and brutal. He rarely drank water during workouts, pushing his body past human limits. Could heat stroke have caused the brain swelling? Some experts believed it, but here's the problem. Bruce Lee understood the human body better than most doctors. Would he really make a rookie mistake like dying from dehydration? It did not up. Theory number 3, Betty Ting Pei. Then the spotlight turned to Betty. She gave him the pill. She was alone with him when he collapsed. Rumors of an affair ignited tabloid fires. Was she hiding something? The media tore into her. Conspiracy theorists circled. But despite the frenzy, no evidence ever linked her to foul play. She maintained her innocence, and the facts backed her up. Still, the whispers never stopped. Theory number 4, the family curse. In Chinese culture, curses aren't dismissed as superstition. They're feared. Whispers spread. The Lee family was cursed, destined to lose its men young. Then, in 1993, Bruce's son Brandon Lee died at 28 in a freak accident on the set of The Crow. A prop gun, a live round that shouldn't have been there, dead instantly. 2 generations, 2 mysterious deaths, both at the peak of their powers. The whispers became screams. Coincidence? Or something far more sinister watching over the Lee bloodline? If you're as hooked as I am, hit that subscribe button because we're about to reveal the theory that changes everything. Theory number 5, the triads. Hong Kong in the 1970s belonged to the triads, and the film industry, their playground. Word on the street, Bruce refused to pay protection money. He wouldn't bow, wouldn't break. Did they make an example of him? The theory had weight, but like so many theories, no proof ever surfaced. Just fear and silence. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. There's one theory, backed not by rumor, but by medical evidence. Bruce had been using cortisone, a powerful steroid, since his severe back injury in 1970. And long-term cortisone use? It's a slow killer. Extreme weight loss. Bruce had it. Heat intolerance. Bruce suffered from it. Adrenal failure. Bruce showed every symptom, and it made a lot of people nervous because cortisone adrenal failure can kill you instantly. It's a chilling thought, right?
In his final months, witnesses reported excessive sweating, drastic weight drops, and erratic mood swings. His body was breaking down from the inside. Medical experts now believe Bruce may have been in adrenal crisis the day he died, his body unable to regulate fluids or brain pressure. The result, catastrophic swelling, organ failure, death. Unlike the conspiracies, this theory is backed by science. And here's what makes it truly haunting. Bruce Lee's death could have been prevented if doctors had recognized the signs, if he'd stopped the cortisone, if someone had intervened. He might still be alive. But was it really that simple? Medical negligence and a steroid dependency? Or was there something even darker lurking beneath the surface?
Bruce Lee's background and early life. To understand how Bruce Lee died, you need to understand how he lived. Born November 27, 1940, in San Francisco, Lee Jun-fan was caught between two worlds from the start. His father, Lee Hoi-chuen, was a famous Cantonese opera star. His mother, Grace Ho, came from Hong Kong wealth. Though born American, Bruce was raised in Hong Kong, a child of performance, spectacle, and ambition. As a kid, he appeared in films, playing minor roles, but his real education came from the streets. Bruce got into fights, lots of them. Worried for his safety, his parents enrolled him in martial arts training under Yip Man, the legendary Wing Chun master. That decision changed everything. Bruce didn't just learn Wing Chun, he devoured it. Then he studied Tai Chi, boxing, fencing. He absorbed every style he could, questioning the rigid traditions that defined martial arts. Why follow ancient rules when you could create something better? But in 1959, Bruce crossed the wrong family, the son of a feared triad boss. Fearing retaliation, his parents sent him back to America. He landed in Seattle, finished high school, and enrolled at the University of Washington to study philosophy. While there, he began teaching martial arts, his own hybrid style that shattered tradition. Students flocked to him. He opened his first school, the Lee Jun-fan Gung Fu Institute. That's where he met Linda Emery, who would become his wife. Together they had two children, Brandon and Shannon. Bruce Lee wasn't just a martial artist. He was a rebel, a philosopher, a man determined to break every barrier in his path. But that relentless drive, that refusal to slow down, to rest, to listen to his body, may have been the very thing that killed him. Because the same intensity that made him a legend might have also made him vulnerable.
Bruce Lee's rise to fame. Bruce Lee's journey from martial arts instructor to global icon wasn't luck. It was sheer, unrelenting will. In the early 1960s, Lee opened his school in Oakland, California. His philosophy was revolutionary. Forget rigid traditions. Adapt, evolve, win. He called it Jeet Kune Do, martial arts stripped to its purest, most lethal form. Students flocked to him. Hollywood took longer. His break came in 1964 at the Long Beach Karate Championships. In 1966, he landed the role of Kato in The Green Hornet. The show flopped in America, but in Hong Kong, a sensation. Despite his popularity, Hollywood had no place for him. Frustrated, Bruce made a bold move in 1971. He returned to Hong Kong. The moment he stepped off the plane, he was mobbed. Producer Raymond Chow immediately offered him a contract. Bruce accepted. Everything changed. The Big Boss, 1971, exploded across Asia, then Europe and beyond. Box office records shattered. A new genre was born. Fists of Fury, 1972, demolished those records, cementing Bruce as the king of martial arts cinema. Way of the Dragon, 1972, Bruce directed, wrote, choreographed, and starred. Every frame was his vision. It proved he wasn't just a performer, he was a creative force. Then came his masterpiece, Enter the Dragon, 1973, a bridge between Warner Brothers and Golden Harvest, Hollywood and Hong Kong, East and West. Critics called it the greatest martial arts film ever made, but Bruce never got to see it. Released after his death, it became his eternal tribute. You must combine the two in harmony. If you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become a mechanical man.
Bruce Lee wasn't just a star, he was a revolution that shattered boundaries and transcended time. But his relentless drive, the same fire that made him a legend, was consuming him from the inside. Bruce Lee's tragic death. July 20th, 1973. The day the world lost its hero, Bruce Lee was at the peak of his powers, planning his next film with George Lazenby, riding the wave of international stardom. But that afternoon, everything changed. Before heading to dinner, Bruce complained of a headache. He went to Betty Ting Pei's apartment to rest. She gave him Equagesic, a painkiller he'd taken before without issue. He lay down, expecting to wake up refreshed. He never woke up. When Betty tried to rouse him hours later, he was completely unresponsive. Panic set in. She called Raymond Chow, who rushed over. They tried everything. Nothing worked. A doctor arrived, attempted to revive him, failed. An ambulance screamed through Hong Kong streets, racing Bruce to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. By the time they arrived, Bruce Lee was dead. The cause? Cerebral edema, brain swelling. But why? How does a man in perfect physical condition at 32 years old just die? The world couldn't process it. The man who embodied invincibility was gone in the most inexplicable way imaginable. And the questions, they came flooding in. Bruce Lee's legacy. Bruce Lee died at 32, but his impact? Immortal. His films, especially Enter the Dragon, didn't just entertain. They revolutionized how martial arts were portrayed on screen. His fighting style, his philosophy, his sheer presence redefined an entire genre. Action cinema was never the same, but his influence went far beyond movies. Jeet Kune Do, his martial arts philosophy, shattered traditions. No rigid forms, no blind obedience to ancient rules, just adaptability, practicality, and personal expression. Today, his teachings shape martial arts styles worldwide. His approach to fitness inspired millions. Bruce didn't just train, he lived it. His philosophy connected physical strength with mental clarity, creating a blueprint that athletes and enthusiasts still follow today. And perhaps most importantly, Bruce Lee broke barriers. As one of the first Asian actors to achieve mainstream success in Hollywood, he challenged racial stereotypes head-on. He kicked down doors that had been slammed shut for generations, paving the way for Asian representation in Western cinema. His struggle, his triumph, his refusal to be boxed in, that is what still inspires actors, filmmakers, and dreamers today. Bruce Lee's legacy lives on everywhere. His teachings are studied. His films are watched by new generations. Statues, museums, documentaries all honor his memory. His daughter Shannon Lee continues his work through the Bruce Lee Foundation, ensuring his philosophy reaches those who need it most. So let's recap what we've uncovered. We traced Bruce Lee's final day, July 20th, 1973, from a routine meeting to a mysterious collapse at Betty Ting Pei's apartment. We examined the warning signs 10 weeks earlier when he collapsed on the set of Enter the Dragon. We explored the theories, the painkiller reaction, heat stroke, the triads, the family curse, and the most compelling, long-term cortisone use leading to adrenal crisis. We looked at his journey from a street-fighting kid in Hong Kong to a martial arts revolutionary who created Jeet Kune Do. We watched him rise from obscurity to global superstardom through 4 groundbreaking films. And we confronted the haunting questions that still surround his death, questions that may never be fully answered. We remember Bruce Lee not just for his skills or his fame, but for his indomitable spirit, his relentless pursuit of excellence, his unshakable belief in self-expression. As he once said, the key to immortality is first living a life worth remembering. Bruce Lee lived that life, and the world will never forget. If this opened your eyes to a side of Bruce Lee you never knew existed, smash that like button and subscribe. We're building a community that refuses to accept surface-level stories, and you're part of it now. But one question still haunts us. What if his death could have been prevented? And if you want to dive into another mysterious final day of a legend, check out our deep dive into Tupac Shakur's last 24 hours. Another icon taken too soon, another death shrouded in unanswered questions. Until then, stay curious and stay chill.